Hey, good evening traders. Hope everyone's thriving and banking some good pips this Thursday. Just wanted to do a quick rundown of the short I took this morning during the London session. Like I said, maybe a bit flippantly, this is easy money, like an easy trade to take. And actually, it's being genuine. I got some pushback, some people saying I'm full of shit and that it wasn't easy at all. So I just want to cover some things quickly, set the record straight, because a lot of this comes down to confidence and conviction in what you're doing. So every morning I give a sketch of what I'm looking for, and today it was a move up to the supply zone created overnight, and then I was looking to short down. So I'm not just saying this off the cuff for fun. If I'm saying it, there's been quite a lot of thought put into it. Like I say in the course, you should have a plan of what you're doing. So for example, are you genuinely doing every single step in the evening routine that is set out? Having a think about the day, write down a possible bull or bear scenario. Are we in a range or trend? Doing all your mental hand history work. And then the morning routine, this is quite long. It should take, maybe half an hour to do. But every single step is important. Most importantly, make a written plan for the session with targets. So, get back to the charts. This is that zone I was talking about. So why am I wanting to short from this zone? Well, first of all, it's got really good basing. You can see this kind of sandwiching up and down, the break structure, and it looks like a range on M1. So I was thinking that is kind of ripe for shorting from. The rest is like, we have this bearish order flow with lower lows and lower highs. There's compression on M1 that we'll see if we let this play out. Before that happens, you actually see the Asia high develop and a grab. And this trade I did not take. But before we get to the main trade that I took, we can kind of show this. How it panned out. There's some equal lows created, more equal lows, then a grab, and that's your Frankfurt low, and your grab complete. So this is halfway through Frankfurt. What does this look like in the order flow? Well, actually it's perfect. You get this absorption and then this huge imbalance created, and that corresponds to the 28 candle. So that's just a couple of candles away. So you've got it's basically around here to buy from. So that's your buy. That meets all the requirements for setup 1. This is confirmation 2. That's not the trade that I took though. So really I was looking to go short because of the bearish structure. We have this compression beginning. We have liquidity taken from a trend line, which is really important. For setup 2, which is what we're describing, we're looking for some kind of pull on liquidity, which happens here. Daily pivot point. I say in the course, a kind of classic trade is like the daily pivot point to R1 or S1, and because it's in this supply zone, we're generally not looking in the middle of the supply zone. Our main point of interest is at the daily pivot. Anytime you have any kind of like pivot, or say a high volume node within your zone, that kind of refines it and tells you where you're going to be trading. So because we have the daily pivot right above this supply zone, that's where we're wanting to trade. We don't just trade the first touch because we don't have confirmation. That's the demand zone that broke structure. Change of character. And then there's the mitigation of the M1 supply that's created, and here's your entry. So do I have this somewhere? So there was an 8-0 imbalance kind of further back that you can't see, that's created here, and then that's the touch of it, and we have this lining up under the imbalance with low volume, which is perfect. So that's your short, but that's not the end of the story. So let's see how it plays out. So say that's your short. This lining up under the imbalance is created here. So you set your stop loss, whatever, 3-5 pips. Let's say 3 for this example. And you could target S1. That's what I would recommend, but I ended up targeting Frankfurt low. So got our entry. Got our stop here. Now, I teach to move your stop to break even after like 8 to 10 pips. So you should have your stop loss at break even. You don't have to. Maybe you want to loosen it a bit. Just kind of keep it, let it breathe. Whatever you choose to do. So we break structure again, and now we come back, and this is just the kind of trickery, the kind of liquidity grabbing that is created by market makers or other market participants, and then we have this spike up which might have taken you out, and it took me out. But you have to notice some important things. Okay, we'll create this little trend line. Okay, that's liquidity there. That's liquidity from the people that have entered short. It's been spiked out, fails to create a higher high, it wicks and moves down. So that's enough to enter immediately, that wicking and that failure to make a higher high. So that's, if you moved your stop to break even, you're taking out. If you leave it at 3 pips, absolutely nothing wrong with that, then you wouldn't have been stopped out. Another thing to point out is on H1 we have a major trend line, and I'm expecting the liquidity from that to be taken if we're going to move up eventually. This whole move down is basically position building for larger market participants, and if they're doing that, they're going to take all the liquidity they can. They're going to build it, take it, and then move up. So that was our short. That's the one that I took. I didn't quite finish. You could have taken that down to S1 if you wanted, or whatever. But by this point it's like 9R. So let's see. Well, look in the chat, but somewhere I did post like evidence that I did take that trade. I wondered if I copied and pasted it somewhere. Here. Oh, here. Yeah. So that's like the time, and that ended up, you know, pretty good, about 10 grand on prop. So yeah, that was kind of my main trade for the day. The rest of them were a bit disappointing. I had a lot of like break evens and stuff, so I ended up calling it quits after this one. Yeah, the rest of the day was a bit of a washout for me. Didn't really get anything. Because I was expecting this big move up that it wasn't ready for. It just kind of ranged and, you know, kept collecting liquidity. So yeah, so a lot of this comes down to like confidence and conviction in your idea. You know, even if you stop break even, then you should be able to trust your process and re-enter if the price action isn't like contradicting your idea, which it isn't here. It's not breaking the highs, it's wicked. It's just collecting this trendline liquidity. So if you had moved your stop to break even, you just have to think quick and re-enter, or just recognize that this is coming up and you know, testing stops, and you can let it breathe a little bit if you want. So that's why I said this is an easy short, because I like followed my process, my evening and morning routine, written plan, and that's it. That's all that's left is confident execution. So that's all for now. For tomorrow, I'll see what happens overnight and come up with a plan. Anyone on mentorship can join me in voice tomorrow, and we'll have a chat about things and determine what the proper entries are for tomorrow. Personally, I'm expecting a huge long after a dump down below some previous lows in September, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, that was it. Hope you have a great night. It was a bit of a messy one, but this kind of thing, very common in GU, and you have to kind of think quick about what's happening here. Runs and liquidity are very common, so if you are in a position, don't abandon it just because you get stopped out break even. Think like what is actually happening here, and that'll keep you in the position that you're in. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions about that trade, let me know. Yeah, and I hope you have a great Thursday evening, and we'll talk tomorrow.